Today in our Pet Vet segment, we want to talk about canine influenza because it has reached epidemic proportions in Chicago, and now we're seeing some signs of it spreading into Indiana. Veterinarian Sandi Norman has been talking with vets in Chicago and Northwest Indiana. Good to have you here. What are they telling you?
Well, they're telling us, of course, Chicago's had it for a couple weeks now, and we have a few vets who have said it's just coming across the border into Northwest Indiana. We haven't seen any cases in the Indianapolis area, but it's very concerning because it's a pretty novel virus. The general dog population's not been exposed to it. It's broken mostly out in kennels and dog parks, places where dogs congregate together. And it's just like our influenza. It is an influenza virus, so it spreads very easily.
So what kind of symptoms would we be seeing in dogs?
Okay, the signs we're seeing is they usually get a very high fever. The veterinarians usually they get a very high fever, so therefore they're not eating. So they don't feel like eating. They're coughing, coughing very hard, sometimes to the point of vomiting, and they get a nasal discharge too. And so it's just like with us, the earlier treatment, the better. Some of them get very mild symptoms and recover. And then of course some of them, if the symptoms progress, will get pneumonia. And that's what we're concerned about, is them not getting pneumonia.
So even though we haven't seen any cases here in Indianapolis, what can dog owners do to protect their pets? Okay,
so what they need to do is be careful around large groups of dogs. I mean, if a lot of people go to dog parks, that's fine, you know, but if there's sick dogs, you know, if your dog is ill for some reason, you shouldn't take them to a dog park, or you should take them to a kennel. And I think at least kennels and boarding places up in Chicago have been very strict about biosecurity. They've closed and cleaned their kennels, they've closed their dog parks and things to try to avoid places where dogs get together. The other thing is there is a vaccine available. If you are, and the vaccine takes a while to go into effect, so you can't, you know, if your dog's already sick, it's not going to help. But if you're going to board your dog this summer, if you're going to travel with your dog, probably be a good idea to seek out the influenza vaccine, and it's kind of in short supply, so it may be hard to find at this point in time.
So if I don't take my dog to a dog park, if I just, you know, have my dog in and out of my own house, I'm less likely probably to experience that?
You probably are less likely, but just remember, it just takes nose-to-nose contact, and that's kind of the first thing dogs do, is they kind of go nose-to-nose. So that's part of the problem. And the other thing is, basically, you know, some people, I have some people are going to travel to Chicago and take their dog, and I'd say, well, don't take your dog, because Chicago has a lot of it and they know it. And so that just being cautious, but we just want people to be aware of it.
Sure.
And probably the biggest message is, if your dog is sick, if it's not eating, it seems to have a high fever, it's coughing, then you should go to the veterinarian. It may not be canine influenza. We have other respiratory viruses and bacteria that cause problems. But the sooner you get it to the veterinarian, you get it treated, the more likely you're to have a successful recovery. Most of the dogs do not die from this.
Right.
It's recoverable, just like our influenza is. So.
We've got a dog up for adoption. Tell us about the dog we're going to see here.
Oh, we do too. This is Thor. Thor is 1 year old, and he has a lot of energy, I understand. He's a boxer mix, and he needs somebody that really wants to love him and give him lots of, because he has a lot of energy, I understand. And very, very energetic, very energetic. So if you can give Thor one of his friends at home, the Humane Society in Indianapolis one does, oh, look at that face.
That's a great
That is definitely
face.
a boxer face. If you can give Thor one of his friends at home, call the Humane Society of Indianapolis, and they want us to remind me that their mutt strut is on Saturday, April 25th.
That's great
and
to see.
Isn't that great? So boxer lovers out there, beware, because I think he fits right in.
Very good. Maybe one of our viewers will take a chance on Thor. Thanks again, Sandy. Good seeing you again.